Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. I want to welcome you to the May 25th, 2019 Vinyl Treasure Show. It's the last Saturday of the month. It means it's all 1960s 45s out of my collection. 1964 through 1969, I'll say. I think I have one from 70 and one from 63 if I get to it. But we had a beautiful day today here in New York City. Glad you can be here for the next 2 hours. We open up tonight's show with a B-side from the last 60s show. The A-side was a vocal by Wilmer Alexander Jr. and the Dukes, a song many of you enjoyed that I featured on last month's 60 show, Give Me One More Chance. Now, that was the B-side. It's an instrumental, a song entitled Get It. It was the first of four on the Buffalo, New York-based Aphrodisiac label. That one there came out May 1968. Wilmer Alexander Jr. and the Dukes on Aphrodisiac with Get It, as we all get it here for a Saturday evening. Let's start off the vocal portion here with an artist by the name of Billy T. Soul. It appears to be a stage name, and no one is quite sure who he is, but some believe he may be Percy Welch from Macon, Georgia, but it's a cool side either way, produced by the Van McCoy. We go back to May of 1967. We open it up with Billy T. Soul on Musicor. It's called Call on Billy. That tune produced by Van McCoy on the Musicor record label, May 1967. Billy T. Soul is his name. He also has a release, or at least maybe other releases on the King record label as Billy Soul, but that's Call on Billy, the name of that tune. Got a lot of soul singles to feature tonight, plus other tunes too. A lot of girl group sounds here on tonight's show. And speaking of girl groups, here's one, a group called the Lovettes. It's on the Phillips record label. I think it's the same group that recorded on DCP International as the Secrets, aka the Sharons. I think they had to change their name to the Sharons because the Secrets already existed on the Philips record label, so they became the Sharons. But I think this is them later on as we go to Philips Records on this. And the Secrets actually do a tune called, well, this song called "No Matter What You Do to Me," and it sounds like it's the same backing track but with a different lead singer, so we can call this a cover. It's the exact same backtracking in my opinion, but the name of the group is called the Lovettes, and this one from November 1965. This side also arranged by Robert Bateman and Robert Mosley. It was also arranged, the same two arrangers on the DCP International label. Let's give it a spin. November 65, the Lovettes on Philips, "No Matter What You Do to Me." Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. I don't know, it sounds like a different lead on that, but the same backing track as the Secrets on DCP. November 65, the Lovettes on Philips Records. Song entitled "No Matter What You Do to Me." No matter what you do to Johnny G tonight, I'm spinning 1960s 45s out of my collection. And this next group is called the Stereos, although not spelled the same as the Stereos on the Cub label out of Steubenville, Ohio, but supposedly they are the same group that recorded on Cub and Gibraltar and other labels. They are said to be the same group, not to mention the flip side of this is a longer track of their 1959 Gibraltar single, "Sweet Peas in Love," but this is the side that I like, and it's from 1965. It's on a label called Ideal Records. These are the Stereos, spelled STERIO''S, the Stereos on Ideal, and their tune called "Life."
Just go on. got to do, you've got to give a little, take a little, let your heart break a little unto others as you'd have them do to you. Life, you've got to make it your own self. You've got to live and let live and beware. And hope one day you'll find that dream because life doesn't promise anything. Just one chance, you better take it. Life doesn't promise anything. Life doesn't promise anything. Life doesn't promise anything. Oh, oh, oh. Life doesn't promise anything.
It's on a label called Ideal Records. Some say it's out of Philadelphia. I don't know if it's affiliated with that Ideal label. This could be a totally different label. It's kind of weird. Doesn't really have a great numbering sequence because the flip side has a stamped number in it, but it's odd, but it's a great record. I love this tune. It's called Life. 1965 release by a group called the Stereos. The Stereos here. Johnny G's here spinning 1960s. Got a number of flip sides from the last month's 60s show, and we heard the instrumental. We opened up with a flip side. Here's a vocal here. This gal, her third release on the Redbird record label, I featured last week. Her real name is Rita Coleman, but she recorded as Roddy Joy. The side I featured, the A side, was called If There Is Anything Else You Want, Let Me Know. Let's give a listen to the B side before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. This one from September 65. It's on Redbird Records. This is a styrene promo. You know how much Johnny G loves styrene 45s. Roddy Joy. Her tune is called one word. It's called Stop.
So much, baby, but you must realize it's all the way with me. So I better put you wise. So stop doing what you're doing now. Stop doing what you're doing now. Stop. Oh, unless you mean every word you say.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. That's Miss Roddy Joy. That's the flip side of her first of three on the Redbird record label. Stop is the name of that one. September 1965. Warren asked me any Ellie Greenwich connection. I looked for that on here. I know there was on the no, on the flip side, I didn't see that. Let me see. It's Stuart Weiner and Johnny Lewis are the writers, Mike Lewis and Stuart Weiner the producers. No, not on that one, Warren, but definitely a great tune, a great two-sided 45 as we continue here on the All 60s edition. Now, this next 45 originally came out on the Council label in March of 1963 as The Crayons, but then it was re-released in January of 64 as Ronnie and the Crayons, and Ronnie is really Cheryl Townsend. She's the lead here, who earlier had solo releases on the Loot, on Little Star, and on the Gone record labels. I have all three of those. I should feature them here on the show. But let's give a listen to this one from January 1964. This is the second release of this on the Los Angeles Domain label, Ronnie and the Crayons, featuring Cheryl Townsend on lead, a song entitled Am I in Love?
Am I in love? Am I in love? Am I in love? Am I in love? Mama, the strangest feeling came over me today. I met a boy at school and he asked me for a date. I grew so weak, I couldn't speak, and then I felt my heart skip a beat. Am I in love? Am I in love? Am I in love? Am I in love? I told him that I couldn't answer him now, for I was running late. I have to get to math class so I can concentrate. But 3 and 3 became 7, 5 and 2 became 8. Am I in love? Am I in love? Am I in love? Am I in love? Senior prom will soon be here, and I remember that you said, Mother dear, boys will always ask for dates. It's best to wait till I graduate to fall in love, to fall in love. That boy said there's nothing in the world that for me he wouldn't do. And I told the boy that I would love him true. If we could wait until that day when we both did graduate, to fall in love, to fall in love, to fall in love, to fall in love, to fall in love.
Girl group sounds here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Johnny G will play 5 girl group sides in a row. Daryl, actually, I did a whole show. Actually, if you go to my YouTube page, Johnny G Vinyl Treasures, one of the top shows is an all-girl group show, as one of the highest views on that show. But that's a cool girl group there, Ronnie and the Crayons. Cheryl Townsend, she's the lead there. January 64, featured it on the Domain label. The song entitled Am I in Love? It's out of Los Angeles, California. Then in October 64, it came out again as Ronnie and the Parlays. Came out on the Kerwood label, but it sounds like a much earlier version with less background vocals. Almost sounds like the girls are not in the background at all. Just a little bit of a chorus later on, but that's the side you want. Johnny G here, continuing with the 1960s edition, and on the last 60s show I featured Marv Johnson, his last single on United Artists. It was his 19th, believe it or not, on United Artists, a song entitled Unbreakable Love. That was the A side. I also dig on the B side. It's a song he wrote. It's arranged and conducted by Horace Isle. Let's give it a spin from January 64, Mr. Marv Johnson on United Artists, a song entitled wait a minute. The Man Who Don't Believe in Love. I wrote many. It's entitled The Man Who Don't Believe in Love.
Over there sits a man who believe in love. And as I sit here watching him, I'm wondering what he's thinking of. Does he know what he's been missing? A lovely girl, oh, he could have been kissing. There sits a man who don't believe in love. What's that you say? You had a love that broke your heart. Well, just go right on and forget it now, boy, and make yourself a brand new start. I know her leaving is gonna make you cry, but don't use tears for an alibi. Don't be that man, the man who don't believe in love. No, no, no. Don't you know I'm begging you. Hey, 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 brother, stop feeling that way if you will. Hey, 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 don't you know if one plan don't work, surely another one will. So hold your head up high and don't let happiness pass you by. Don't be that man, the man who don't believe in love. And I'm telling you right now, boy, don't be that man. 'Cause I was a man, the man who don't believe in love.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, Mr. Marv Johnson. Marv Johnson, January 64 release. That's his 19th on United Artists Records, The Man Who Don't Believe in Love. That's a cool B-side there. And a song he wrote. That's a cool tune. Johnny G here. It's my all 1960s edition. We do it the last Saturday of every month. Let's continue here. We go back to the girl group sounds. This girl group out of the state of Connecticut, they have this lone release that came out on the Clock label. I don't think this is associated with the same Clock label that Dave Baby Cortez recorded on, but it features Barbara Stroman on lead, and she would go on to have solo releases on the Star Vision International label, but here she is doing lead with a group called The New Loves. It's spelled NU space LUV apostrophe S. As we go to Clock Records here, it's a Pink label, December 1967, The New Loves with Hello Lover, Goodbye Friend.
Hello, lover. Goodbye, friend. I thought our friendship would never end, but one look in
A group called The New Loves, that girl group there. December 67, Barbara Stroman, she's on lead. Hello Lover, parentheses, Goodbye Friends. Friend is the name of that one. Came out on the Clock record label. Now, this is not the same group, Daryl, that you typed in there. Not the same group that recorded for Mercury in 1966. That was a completely different group. And these are these gals, African-American gals, the other New Loves. They are not. Is Johnny G here for a Saturday evening? Hope you're digging on the cool 60s 45s out of my collection. We do it the last Saturday of every month. And on the last 60s show, I featured the B-side of this gal's 45. She made her debut on the MGM record label. The side was called What's So Sweet About Sweet 16. That was the B-side of the 45. And both sides were arranged and conducted by Charlie Colello. So let's give a listen to the A-side. It's the first of two she recorded on MGM Records. This one charted regionally. This was a number 46 on WAVZ. If you were listening to that in New Haven, Connecticut, we go back to August 64 for Carol Quinn. Carol Quinn on MGM, a song called Good Boy Gone Bad.
Good boy gone bad.
Once upon a time, that little boy of mine, he was so sweet and good, and always treated me the way he should. But something made him change, and now he's acting strange. He never seems to call, for days on end I don't see him at all. I used to kiss don't even seem to know that I exist. He's always off somewhere, and though he says he cares, I know it's just a lie. I see it when I look him in the eye.
August 64 release there for Carol Quinn with an E, Carolequinn, Carol Quinn. Charlie Colello produced the 45. That one there on the MGM record label, the first of two on MGM. Good Boy Gone Bad. Johnny G's still a good boy as we spin original vinyl 45s. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. And this next female singer, originally from Wichita, Kansas, but traveled to New York City to record her first release in 1962, and with a couple of singles on the President label. That was in 62. Then this is a cover song in 1964 on the TCF label, recorded 6 months earlier for Decca Records by Selvin Johans, and it was written by Winfield Scott. And Helen Shapiro also does a version of this in 1964. But let's give a listen to this version by Millie Foster. Millie Foster from January 64 on TCF. Millie Foster with her rendition of the tune Old Father Time. That tune Randy mentions very similar to Mashed Potato Time by Dee Dee Sharp. Yes, it is. Millie Foster's her name. A January 64 release, Old Father Time is the name of that tune. Came out on the TCF record label. Now, she would later sing with a group called The Shades of Joy in 1968 on the Fontana record label. Let's continue now. Let's stay with the females. And on the last 60s show, I closed my show with Mary Wells, her second of 6 for 20th Century Fox. I guess we can consider this her last national hit. A song entitled Use Your Head. And it was a 45 that my aunt purchased in late 1964. And of course, as I mentioned, as many of you know, my aunt would also play her B-sides as she played the B-side of this, which actually did chart. This charted on KORL in Honolulu, Hawaii. It was a big number 14 hit on that label. This tune written by Rudy Clark. Let's go to December of 64 for Mary Wells. Mary Wells on 20th Century Fox. This is the flip side to Use Your Head, a song entitled Ever Lovin' Boy.
Ever loving boy, I can see you're still in love with me, in love with me the same way that you used to be. Time has never changed you, oh no, ever loving boy. I can't tell because I know you well. You love me like you love me since the day we fell. Time has never changed you, oh no. We had a fight, but here tonight we kissed again. never change you, ever loving boy. He's my boy, pride and joy. That's why I call him my ever.
Yeah, that's Mary Wells. Great B-side there. My aunt used to love that tune. Both sides of that 45, Mary Wells' December 64 release. That's her first record on the 20th Century Fox label, Ever Lovin' Boy. Too bad she really never had the success on 20th Century Fox after she left Motown Records. And of course, we miss Mary Wells. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. I normally play 50s and early 60s 45s out of my collection, but I have quite a large, extensive 60s collection. I even have the 70s. You can't tell Hi-Fi Tim. And 80s, but you're never going to hear that here on Top Shelf Oldies. I could do a private show of that if anybody wants to hear 70s and 80s. A lot of those soul records sell for some big bucks, which I do have. Anyway, let's continue with the 60s here. And we go back to Los Angeles, California for this artist by the name of Norm Richards, which is an early alias for songwriter and producer Norm Ratner, who worked with such artists as The Leaves, The Forum, Melinda Marks, The Yellow Pages on the Uni label, and a group called The Hook. I think they were also on the Uni label. I have those 45s, just to name a few. But he is also a singer, and this is a pretty cool tune. Came out on the DG label out of Los Angeles, California, and it's a song he wrote and he produced it. It's from January 66. Give a listen to Norm Richards, aka Norm Ratner, on DG Records, and the side is called Please Don't Make Me Blue.
Oh, when your baby says goodbye, that's when your heart begins to cry. You know without her you will die. So I said, darling, please don't make me cry. So darling, please don't make me cry. Somebody said you were untrue, but I'll still go on loving you. There's no one else that will do. So I said, darling, please don't make me blue. So darling, please don't make me blue. There's no one else that will do. So I said, darling, please don't make me blue. So darling, please don't make me blue. Don't make me blue. Don't make me
January 66 release on the DG record label. It's out of Los Angeles, California. I have a number of records on that label. Norm Richards, a.k.a. Norm Ratner, on that one, Please Don't Make Me Blue. Remember that record? I brought that from Jerry Diaz a long, long time ago. Was selling me kind of like some garagey teener records, and that was included there. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening spinning original vinyl 45s. Not many shows play all 45s. Mr. Dave the Rave plays a lot of 45s now that he has his two turntables, but I don't think all 45s, but mostly 45s. I only play 45s and 78s too on the 50s and early 60s edition. Well, let's continue here with the 60s. Let's stay in California. For this artist from Bakersfield, California, came on the scene in 1965 with releases on the Moat label, on the Tally label, and the Manmore label, and he did 3 for the Manmore label. This is the A-side of his first. It was produced and arranged by Gary Paxton. This one charted number 12 on KAFY in his hometown of Bakersfield, California. We go to February of 1967. It's on Manmore Records. Give a listen to Augie Marino. Augie Marino, this is the A-side, a song entitled Don't Let Love Slip Away, parentheses, from You.
Don't let love slip away from you.
February 67 release there by Augie Marino. Augie Marino on the Manmore record label. Don't Let Love Slip Away From You is the name of that tune. I normally don't play that side. I play the B-side of that 45 as the B-side's a cover of a Joe South song he does, Party People, which I like. I like that version. But he has others on Manmore that are pretty good too. Got to say hello to my high school buddy, Robert Neal, tuned in over in Elmsford, New York. Yes, Robert, Barbara and I will get together after I'm done with this diet. I plan on being off it next by next Friday to learn how to wean myself off it. I lost 70 pounds so far. I have 4 more to go before I get to my goal weight. And I'm feeling great about this diet and can't wait to get on the maintenance program. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s here. Now, on the last 60s show, I featured this gal by the name of Tammy Wayne. It came out on the Boom label. I played the A-side of her 45 on Boom called Have a Good Time. Let's give a listen to the B-side. This one arranged and conducted by Robert Banks, but really can't find anything about this gal. Her name is Tammy Wayne. It's from March of 1966, Boom Records. It's called Kiss Away. Scratchy.
Upside down, and we just kiss away, kiss away, kiss away, ooh, baby. Changes in my arms, he'll stay, so we can kiss away, kiss away, kiss away, ooh, baby, kiss away, kiss away, kiss away, ooh, baby, kiss away, kiss away, kiss away, ooh, baby.
March 66 release there on the Boom record label. Got a lot of records on the Boom label. Tammy Wayne's her name. That's the B-side, song entitled Kiss Away. The flip side's a good tune also. Played it last week. Have a good time. Hopefully you're having a good time with these cool 60s 45s. Lots of female artists on tonight's 60s show, and this gal is from North Philadelphia. She first recorded on the Lyric label. Then she did 3 on Academy. Now her first on Academy was a cool tune, a kind of a Motown-style tune, kind of like what Martha and the Vandellas would do, a song entitled Dead End, which is very much like a Motown record. But let's give a listen to her second release on the Academy label, arranged by Leroy Lovett. This one from January 1965. Ann Byers on Academy, and her tune is called Here I Am.
To come to you, well, here I am, and I brought to you my, if you need to, then real love. When I first spoke to you, I had a feeling you were concealing a love that didn't really exist for me, but I changed my mind, and now I'm here to love you, if you prove that your love for me is true.
with my heart in my hand. And now I'm ready to start up a swinging romance. 'Cause here I am, bringing my love like you told me to. Whenever I'm blue, just to run to you. Well, darling, here I am, and I brought to you my love. I told myself when I first saw you to keep away, but I really wasn't giving you a chance. Now that I'm here, won't you please tell me, dear, or does your heart really beat the way that mine does for you? 'Cause here I am, and I don't wanna be misled into thinking that you care when you're feeding me a line just to pass a little time. No, you gotta love me, darling, and that's the reason that I'm here. Oh, that I'm here. Well, don't you know that I love you? And don't you know that I need you? And don't you know that I want you? Oh, that's why I'm here. Well, darling.
That's the second of three from Miss Ann Byers on the Academy record label. Very similar to her tune Dead End. I know her last one is not. It is different. I don't have her third release on the Academy record label. I know the one she does on the no, I mentioned it earlier. The one she does on the Lyric label is a pretty rare 45 she does, that's for sure. But that's January 65, Ann Byers, Here I Am, on the Academy record label. Now, what I don't like about some of these styrenes, because that one is styrene, you know when the label, the glue starts getting old and it comes away, I'm even afraid to glue the labels back. And I was talking to Greg Surik. He tells me he does those labels pretty good. I'm going to have him come over here to glue a bunch of labels back. I got some rare 50s records that the label has fallen off. I got it in those plastic sleeves there. And I got a real rare girl group record by the Debutantes, I think, that he's got it glued on in the KO label. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here. Let's stay in 65 for this soul singer by the name of Eddie Gray. I have no information about this artist, but he had this lone release that came out on the Vim label. Do you know what Vim stands for? VIM. It stands for Variety in Music, and it's a song that he wrote. We go to 1965. Give a listen to Eddie Gray. Eddie Gray, Gray, Vim Records. It's called Let Me Hold Your Hand.
Come on, baby. Come on home. Listen to me, baby. Now I'm all alone. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let me hold your hand. Let me hold your hand. Little girl, you're my world. Come on home, where you belong. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Let me hold your hand.
night, girl, when I'm all alone, there's no one that, girl, that I can call my own. Hey, come on, baby, yeah. Come on, baby, now. Come on, baby, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Scratches and all on that one. Barry Soltz told me that one. I should ask him for my... No, I'm not going to ask him for my money back. That's a cool tune. For Eddie Gray's his name, 1965, Let Me Hold Your Hand, on Vim Records for that one. And Daryl, where is Vim Records? It's out of Syracuse, New York. I didn't know that either. There you go. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And let's go back to Philadelphia, PA for this singer by the name of Johnny Angel, probably another alias for somebody, as there are a lot of different singers that use the name Johnny Angel. Now, this song written by Bob Finez, if I said that right. Where's Linda Gator when you need her? Bob Finez, who was second tenor for a group called the 4Js out of Philadelphia. Now, they are supposedly backing this artist, Johnny Angel, up. They're the background, providing the background vocals here. Let's go to the Philadelphia Swan label for this one. It's from July of 1966. Johnny Angel and an uncredited 4Js group backing them up on Swan Records. It's called This Is the Night for Love.
Since the day you left, darling, please come back to me. Open up your eyes and see that this is the night we've waited for. Wait for love. This is our love for life, for love. Such a lonely world since the day you left. Darling, please come back to me. Open up your eyes and see that this is the night we've waited for. This is our love for life, for love.
July 66 release there for Johnny Angel. Johnny Angel, 4Js backing him up on that one. They're not mentioned on the label. This is the Night for Love. Yes, it is. That one there on the Swan record label. Got a program note for this coming Wednesday night, May 29th. Please tune in Wednesday evening when Judy and Platypus Jeff take over for Ramtown Mike. We'll be in the process of moving, and Truly Judy's Tunes will be on from 8 to 9 p.m., and then the Platypus Rock and Roll Records Party will be on from 9 to 11. So it will be a splendid evening for sure. So tune in this coming Wednesday as Jeff and Judy fill in for Ramtown Mike, who is moving to a new home. And good luck with that, Ramtown Mike. As we continue here on the 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show for this next artist, he's from Spokane, Washington, started recording in 1961 for the Era label. Then he signed with Al Allen's Unical label and had 4 singles. Now, his signature song on Unical, I guess his biggest hit, he sang it in Spanish. It was a song called Enamorado was the name of the tune. Actually, he first sang it in English, but they didn't like it. The label owner didn't like it. He said, it sounds better in Spanish, and he put it out in Spanish, so that record is in Spanish. I have it. I don't know if I've featured it. I may have featured it here on one of the 60s editions or one of the late when I play those later 60s at my 50s show. But anyway, he would be best known for that single, but I think this release on VJ is his best. It's a song he wrote with Phil Sloan, recorded at Gold Star Studios, arranged by Larry Levine. We go back to May of 1965, VJ Records for Mr. Keith Colley. Keith Colley, and his tune is called Welcome Home, Baby.
Did the town, and now you're tired of running round. You want to come back home. Now you're sorry that you ever did go. Welcome home, baby. It's good to have you in my arms again. Haven't felt this good since don't know when. He gave you pearls and diamond rings and lots of other fancy things. But now you're finally wise. He is just another smooth-talking guy. Welcome home, baby. Hey, girl, how long has it been? Can't count the days since you've gone. Hey, girl, without your love, my life just couldn't go on. Welcome home, baby. It's good to have you in my arms again. Haven't felt this good since don't know when. Welcome home, baby. It's good to have you back. I know you're still my baby. Yeah. Welcome home, baby. Welcome home, baby. Welcome home, baby.
That's another 45 that Jerry Diaz sold me with that other one I mentioned, that Richard, I forget his name already, Johnny G. Keith Colley there, May 1965 on the VJ record label. Welcome Home, Baby. A nice promo that plays pretty nice on Styrene there. And another one I like by Keith Colley, he does the original version of a song called Shame, Shame, which came out on the Columbia label. It was a big hit for the Magic Lanterns, but he did it first. Yes, he did. As we continue here on the All 60s edition, and here's another girl group. They're out of Chicago, Illinois, first recording as the Starlets on the Pam record label, and it was when they made a trip to Philadelphia. They were doing some venue over in Philadelphia. They recorded a few sides for WIBG disc jockey Harold B. Robinson, but they were still under contract with Pam Records. Now, he told them, no, don't worry about it. I'm going to work it out with with the owner of your label. It's not going to be a problem. I'm not going to release this record in a while, blah, blah, blah. I told them all this stuff. So they recorded a few songs for him. And the song was called I Sold My Heart to the Junk Man, which eventually, I think maybe a couple months later, a few months later on down the road, all of a sudden this record is being performed on American Bandstand by some girls that were not the Starlets. They were someone else, and they were singing, lip syncing to the song, but they were called the Bluebells, which included at the time a young Patti LaBelle. She was under another name. She wasn't Patti LaBelle at the time. But again, when the owner of or the label owner of Pam Records found out about it, boy, was he angry. And that was kind of it for the Starlets. Then the owner of the or who recorded them, that DJ from WIBG, Robinson, a couple of other recordings that the Starlets did in that Philly session were released much later. One of them came out on the Rainbow label in 1964. And he called the group the Original Bluebells. It came out in May of 1964. But then later in September, it came out on 20th Century Fox. He ditched the Original Bluebells name and he called them the Bracelets. I don't think the Starlets even knew that that record came out. But that's what that guy did, that WIBG DJ, Harold B. Robinson. He put it out. Now, I'm featuring the rendition, or the one on 20th Century Fox. It features Maxine Edwards on lead. So let's go to September 64. These are the Bracelets, a.k.a. the Starlets, and their tune's called You're Just Fooling Yourself.
You just fooling yourself. You just fooling yourself. Just because you said he smiled at you, just because you had a dance or two, just like that, you want to move right in, just like that, and take my boyfriend, just like that. I'll never stay up for that, just like that, and try to hide the pride, but no, 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 no. If you think that I could sit around and cry while you try to move in on me, well, you just fooling yourself. You just fooling yourself. Just because you said he wrote you a letter, just because you say he called you on the phone, just like that, you try to make me think he's after you, just like that, and believe our romance is through, just like that. I'll never give it up to you, just like that, no matter what you try to do. No, 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 no. If you think that I could sit around and cry while you try to move in on me, well, you just fooling yourself. You just fooling yourself. Get along, girl, be on your way, for there's no room for you. There's not a thing in all of life that I'd like you to do. If you think that I will sit around and cry while you try to move in on me, well, you just fooling yourself. I said you just fooling yourself. Don't you know you just fooling yourself? I said you just fooling yourself.
They're called the Bracelets, a.k.a. the Starlets, but you can get that one on the Green Rainbow label. as the original Bluebells, I think. It may come out as the Bluebells also. I think I have it both ways. Anyway, I featured the one on 20th Century Fox as The Bracelet, September 1964. You're just fooling yourself. I know what Johnny G's not trying to fool you. I'm playing original vinyl 45s out of my collection from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Let's continue here. Now, I can't tell you much about this next artist, Charlene. Both Charlene and I were checking for most of the day to try to find anything about this singer, and I could not. The only thing I can tell you about it is that the writers here, the writers of this, Tony Bruno and Sanford Bellini, have written other songs similar to this, similar sounding to this too. And one of them that they do write was called "Tell Her I'm Not Home." And Chuck Jackson had a hit with that one. But here is one they wrote for an artist by the name of Al Apollo, which sounds like another made-up name, but his name is Al Apollo. I couldn't find anything about this artist, but it's a cool tune on the Cub record label. I told you I had 145 from 1963, and this is it, released in April of 63. His name is Al Apollo on Cub, and give a listen to his tune. It's called I'm Walkin'.
You're walking ahead, yeah, you're angry about the things I've said, oh yeah, believe me, I'm sorry, I realize that they're untrue, and I'll be walking till I'm walking with you. Let me say it now, I'm walking behind, yeah, and I'm going out of my mind. When you said that we were through, there was nothing else for me to do but just keep walking till I'm walking with you. What did I say now?
You said I was mean,
I didn't mean it.
you said I was cheating,
No, I didn't mean
you
it.
called me a liar.
I didn't mean it. No, baby, please forgive me and let me walk by your side. Yeah, and I know that you have your pride. I said, believe me, I'm sorry. I only want to be with you, so I'll keep walking till I'm walking with you. 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 Walking till I'm walking with you.
Gotta send that one out to Bopper Boy Warren, currently in both the chat rooms. He's in the YouTube chat room and also the Top Shelf Foley chat room. That's one of his favorite tunes. Definitely a cool tune there by Al Apollo. There was a girl there, if you heard her voice. I wonder who that was. There from April 1963. I'm Walkin' is the name of that one. Came out on the Cub record label. And that's a stock copy. Not easy to find a stock copy on that. If you have a stock copy, I think it's worth a little bit more than those promos. A lot of the promos are out there. But that one's a cool stock copy. Let's continue here on the Vinyltreasure show. This next 45 is on Joe Evans' Carnival record label. Carnival Records is out of Newark, New Jersey, and it's actually a duet, but it only mentions one artist. Her name is Barbara Brown. Now, the male voice that comes in here is that of George Smith, and he also recorded for the Turntable label. I featured a cool tune of his before on the program, a song entitled I've Had It. Came out on Turntable Records. But let's give a listen to Barbara Brown. It's the second of two she recorded on Carnival Records. This one from January 65. Barbara Brown and the unmentioned George Smith on the Carnival label. A song entitled So in Love. That's the second of two from Miss Barbara Brown. Barbara Brown, and there's a male voice there, that being George Smith. He's the other voice you hear, January 65. So In Love is the name of that one. Came out on the Carnival record label out of Newark, New Jersey. Speaking of Newark, New Jersey, I got out from work early on Friday, so I'm usually not on Route 21 that often in New Jersey, so I'm speeding along, and I'm almost at the end of New Jersey, and all of a sudden I see these lights behind my car, and I pull over to the side, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm being pulled over by police officers. I was pulled over, and the guys were really nice. They came to the window and they told me, they said, do you know you're going? I won't tell you what I was going in the car, but it was fast. It was a 55 and I was going fast. And they said, give me your license and registration, your insurance card. And I handed it over to them, and he gave me back my registration and insurance card, which I thought was weird. Then he went back, and then the guys came back in like 3 minutes. Usually they're sitting in their car for a long time. Maybe it took them 3 minutes to check up on me, but knock on wood, I have a pretty good driving record, I do. And he came back to me and he handed back my license and he said, you know, here you go. And you got to slow down. I says, okay. And you also got to pay attention because we were following you for a while. And I guess you didn't notice, but here's your license back and just a warning. And I was like, I never had a warning before. But anyway, I told the guys, I said, look, have a great weekend. I really appreciate that you did this. And they said, no problem, take off. And then they went. But I was sweating bullets, I was. So whoever those guys were, I gotta thank you. Anyway, that's what made when I mentioned Newark, New Jersey, that's what I thought. Anyway, let's continue. Let's go back to the music here for this group out of St. Louis, Missouri, as they were a spinoff of Bob Cuban and the Inman that had that 1966 hit on the Musicland USA label. You know, the tune called The Cheater. That was a cool record back in 66. But this new group was formed by the songwriter for the group and the organist for the group. His name was Greg Hazelzell. And the group was called The Guys, Guise. They had 5 releases that came out on the Musicland USA label, and they had 2 more that came out on ACO, but this is the B-side to their second on Musicland. Let's go back to March of 1967. They're called The Guys on Musicland USA. The song is entitled Half a Man.
Inside me, tell me what do you see? Just a half a man, where a whole man should be. And you know that when she left me, I couldn't stand her pain. This half a man may never love again. Now a half a man has only half a heart, not enough to fall in love, just enough to feel the heartache start. And the half a man lives half a life that's lonely as can be. The good half is the half he doesn't see.
That's the second of five for a group called The Guys, G-U-I-S-E, March 67 release. Came out on the Music Land USA record label, song entitled Half a Man. Let's continue here. Now up next, a local group from Huntington, West Virginia, recorded 7 on the local Cabell label, C-A-B-E-L-L. Now this was their 4th release. It came out in December of 1965, but you may own this on the Smash label, because Smash Records picked this up in February of 66. It was written by the guitarist for the group, Jim Thornburg. Now, features the lead singer, Larry Askoff. And this group is called the Collegiates. The Collegiates here. Let's go to December of 65 of featuring it on the original Cabell label, the Collegiates, with their tune called I Can't Get You Out of My Mind.
I've tried everything, I sent back the ring, I even lost track of time. But it's no use, baby, I can't get you out of my mind. I kissed other girls, I had several girls, but none were like your kind. Well, it's no use, baby, I can't get you out of my mind. I put away your memory, it nearly drove me insane. But it keeps on coming back when someone speaks your name. I kissed other girls, I had several girls, but none were like your kind. Well, it's no use, baby, I can't get you out of my mind. I put away your memory, it nearly drove me insane. But it keeps on coming back when someone speaks your name. I tried everything, I sent back the ring, I even lost track of time. But it's no use, baby, I can't get you out of my mind. I can't get you out of my mind.
Yeah, for you collectors out there, you can have that, or you might have it on the Smash label, but originally featured on the original label Cabell Records. There's some rare soul records on that label also, out of Huntington, West Virginia. Those are the Collegiates, December 65 release. I Can't Get You Out of My Mind is the name of that one, as we continue here on the All 60s edition. Now, on the last 60s show, I featured a group called the Rockin' Ramrods, and they were out of Newton, Massachusetts. I played it on the Plymouth label, and they did a cover of a Beatles tune called, a Beatles pen tune called I'll Be On My Way. Now, the B-side is also a cover of a Beatles penned tune that was first released, I think, on a 45. I think it was the Rolling Stones' second release, UK release on London Records that they did this. But let's give a listen to this version by the Rockin' Ramrods. This one from December 64, Plymouth Records, the Rockin' Ramrods with their rendition of the tune, I Wanna Be Your Man.
Like no other, baby, like no other can. I wanna be your man.
group called the Rockin' Ramrods there doing the Lennon and McCartney tune, I Want to Be Your Man. Randy mentions that it was more sounding like the Beatles version than the Rolling Stones, and it came out on Meet the Beatles in the U.S. And anyway, there you go, December 64 on Plymouth Records, I Want to Be Your Man. Johnny G wants to be your disc jockey every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. It's the last Saturday of the month. We are spinning 1960s 45s. And on the other 3 Saturdays, I'm doing 1950s and early 60s original vinyl records and 78s, 45s and 78s on the other days, other Saturdays during the month. Now, let's continue here. Now, here's a flip side from a previous 60s edition. Might have been 3 or 4 months ago. I featured the B-side of this record on the Faber label. Now, Faber Records mostly known for its country acts, but not this 45. This 45 is by Don and Jerry with the Fugitives. Now, Don is really Don Griffin, and Jerry is Jerry Strickland. And the side that I played a couple of months ago was called I Can Quit. But let's give a listen to the intended A-side as we go to May of 65. Faber Records, Don and Jerry with the Fugitives. It's called In the Cover of Night. May 65 release there on the Faber label. That is a country label for sure, but not that song. Don and Jerry and the Fugitives there, In the Cover of Night is the name of that one. I bought it from one of my Group Harmony collectors, $1 a piece on the Faber 45. So there you go for that one. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. And this next band is out of Cleveland, Ohio. They were formed by lead guitarist Wesley Watts. Now, other members included David Potter. He was on drums. Paul Armstrong and Carl the others were Paul Armstrong, Carl Johnson, and Bill Linden. And collectively, they made it a hike to Los Angeles, California to record for Bob Keene's Mustang record label. And this one's from January of 65. They're called The Bushmen. The Bushmen, it's on Mustang Records, a song entitled You're the One.
You know that you're the one, and I'm so glad. You know that you're the one,
That's on Bob Keene's Mustang record label, that group called the Bushmen, January 65 release. You're the One is the name of that one there. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue now. And on the last 60s show, I played a 45 by this artist, Washington Smith. Came out on the OK record label. Well, I played the intended B-side. It was a nice ballad. It was called Don't Take Your Love From Me. But let's give a listen to the intended A-side. This one produced and arranged by Barry Kornfeld and Joey Brooks. Let's go to February of 1967 for Washington Smith. It's on OK Records. It's a promo. There's the big red A on this side. A song entitled Fat Cat. His name is Washington Smith, February 1967. That's on the OK record label, song entitled Fat Cat. Johnny G, not a fat cat anymore. Although I had that argument with my doctor, he said, you're still going to be considered obese with a BMI of 30. I said, I don't think so. I don't look obese now. I just got 5 more pounds to go. Anyway, I'm going to really have it out with him next Friday when I get weighed in. As we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Now, this singer's first release came out on the Annette label back in 1964. Then he recorded 3 for Simcoe Records. And I understand one of them is very much in demand, a very expensive 45, but I'm featuring his second, which isn't as expensive at all. But anyway, it's a song he wrote, and I have a promo which was distributed by Bell Records. We go back to June of 66. His name is Gene Tune, Toone, Gene Tune. It's on the Simcoe label, and it's a song entitled A Love Triangle.
Suffer a broken heart.
From June 1966, they're on the Simcoe label, S-I-M-C-O Records. That is the second of three for Gene Tune. Gene Tune, a song entitled The Love Triangle, had later releases on the Chumley label, Wand and can't read my writing, Jarnell Records, or Jarmel, as Johnny G loses his mind. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, this next group is out of Baltimore, Maryland. They recorded 4 on the Baltimore-based Bass Sound record label. Now, this is the group's first release. Initially, it came out on the Caravel label in August of 1967. But then a month later, there was something going on with that label. There was some company sued them to change the name, so they had to reissue it, and it came out on the Bass Sound label, and it's produced by the lead singer. His name is Milton Duggar Jr., who is a Facebook friend of your host Johnny G, and I let him know that I was going to spin this 45 for him. He actually has a picture on his Facebook wall of the record. It was cool when I got that same record, and it's a great two-sided 45, but this is the intended B-side here. Let's go to September of 67. They're called the Chaumonts, I think that's how you say it, Chaumonts, the Chaumonts. It's on Bass Sound Records. The song is called I Need Your Love.
Baby,
Yeah.
you know I'm gonna love you. You know I'm gonna keep you
Oh yeah.
on my mind. Yeah, baby,
Yeah.
you know I'm gonna want you.
Woo.
You know I've got to have you
Oh yeah.
all of the time. You know I need your love. Got to have your love. Ooh, baby,
Yeah.
you know I'm gonna love you.
Woo.
You know I'm gonna keep you
Oh yeah.
on my mind. And yeah, baby,
Yeah.
you know I'm gonna want you.
Woo.
You know I got to have you
Oh yeah.
all of the time. You know I need your love. I've got to have your love. Yeah, baby, you know I'm gonna keep you. You know I'm gonna keep you on my mind, yeah. And baby,
They're called the Chaumonts. I think that's how you say it. Chaumonts. September 67, the first of 4 on the Bass Sound record label. I Need Your Love, a group out of Baltimore, Maryland, and hopefully you can. I told him I was going to play his 45. We did it at 1:50 and 40. Well, actually before 2 minutes before that. Anyway, Johnny G here, spinning 1960s original vinyl 45s out of my collection. Let's continue here now. I like many of this next artist's recordings on the Monument label. Don't care for his novelty side of the record, but I care for the serious ones and other records he produced and wrote for Monument artists that are pretty nice. And the same goes for his releases on the Mercury label. His real name is Harold Ray Ragsdale. We all know him as Mr. Ray Stevens. Now, the A side of this Mercury 45 was called The Rockin' Teenage Mummies, which Okay, that is a novelty tune for sure, but I really love the flip side of the record, a really serious flip side here, a song he co-wrote, and this one produced by Shelby Singleton and Jerry Kennedy. Let's go to January 1965. This is a B-side for Mr. Ray Stevens. It's on Mercury Records, a song entitled It Only Hurts When I Laugh.
When I was young, my daddy said that big boys shouldn't cry. And when I get hurt, he'd say, laugh it off and hold your head up high. And so I remembered his advice on the night you said goodbye. And although you've gone from me, no one will ever see me cry. It only hurts when I laugh, and I laugh my tears away to prove that I'm strong. It only hurts when I laugh, but since you've been gone, I laugh all the day long. Knowing you're with someone else is so very hard to stand. But no matter how I feel inside, I take it like a man. And I hold my head up high and keep those teardrops from my eyes. Yes, I laugh till it hurts, but you will never see me cry. It only hurts when I laugh, and I laugh my tears away to prove that I'm strong. It only hurts when I laugh, but since you've been gone, I laugh all the day long. It only hurts when I laugh. It only hurts when I laugh. It only hurts when I laugh.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Mr. Ray Stevens, January 65. That's the B-side to the Rockin' Teenage Mummies, a song entitled It Only Hurts When I Laugh is the name of that one. Came out on the Mercury record banner. Johnny G here, 1960s. 45s out of my collection. Let's continue now. We head to Detroit, Michigan for this next 45 as this artist first recorded with the Quail Tones on the Josie label back in 1955. He later became a record producer and songwriter for Motown Records in the 60s and 70s, but he was a member of the Originals that recorded for Berry Gordy's Soul record label. But here is his second of two he recorded for Rick Tick Records. As we go to January of 1965, give a listen to Freddie Gorman. Freddie Gorman on Rick Tick, a song entitled Can't Get It Out of My Mind.
I'm talking about the thrill of your tender touch.
That's the second of two for Freddie Gorman on the Rick Tick record label, January 65 release. Can't Get It Out of My Mind is the name of that one. As we continue here, we are in Vinyltreasure Overtime now. And we always do overtime, especially on the 60s edition. Now, here's another flip side from the last 60s show. This gal out of Philadelphia, PA, featured the B-side of her 45 on the Coral label. It's called Please Mr. Songwriter. Now, the A-side is written and produced by Johnny Madera and Danny White, and both sides are arranged by Jimmy the Whiz Wisner. Her name is Joanne King. We go to September of 65 on Coral Records. Joanne King. This is the intended A-side. It's called My Baby Left Me. September 65 release there for Joanne King. Joanne King on Coral Records. Song entitled My Baby Left Me. Now, I had a phone call today, actually triple phone calls today from record dealers and collectors. That kind of put me a little bit behind the eight ball. But if you're looking for a copy of that record, I was talking to Greg Surik. He went down to the Austin, Texas record show. He drove down, took him a while, and he came back. He picked up some 45s. I know he has 4 copies of that record. I don't know what he's selling them for. But he mentioned to me today, I was reading off some of the soul records I was featuring tonight, and I know he has some of those copies, so if you know Greg Surik, you can buy a copy, but I don't know what he wants for them, folks. I can't tell you. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here, the All 60s edition. Let's go to Detroit, Michigan for this next group. They had earlier releases on the Marquee label, and this one came out on a label called Master. It features Jimmy Holland on lead. He also co-wrote the tune. The group is called The Four Holidays, spelled with 2 L's. The Four Holidays. It's from February 64. It's Master Records. It's called Deep Down in My Heart.
Deep down in my heart, deep in my heart.
It was you, girl, right from the start. I broke your heart. No, I wasn't too smart. It was you, only you. Deep down in my heart, deep down in my heart, deep in my heart, deep in my heart. When I cry, I cry for you. I need your baby because your picture won't do. Oh, I want you, baby. I need you, baby. Can I apologize? Baby, let me apologize. At night I lay and I wonder, where can she be? Where can she be? Oh, holding my tears, staying a pillow on my heart, keeps me from sleep. When I cry for you. I needed your baby because your picture won't do. I want your baby. I need your baby. Can I apologize? Baby, let me apologize because I'm deep down inside. Baby, 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 I cry. My tears come tumbling down. My knees are down on the ground. And I beg you, baby, please.
February 64 release there. They're called the Four Holidays. Four Holidays out of Detroit on the master label. Deep Down in My Heart is the name of that tune. Tomorrow evening, please tune into my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show from 9 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. You'll be hearing songs as good as that one, if not better, and all kinds of cool 60s sounds right here on Top Shelf Oldies. It's the long Memorial Day weekend. Johnny G may even tune in, and especially if Dave the Rave is on with a little bit of overtime like Johnny G is on tonight with a little bit of overtime, as it's a long weekend, as we need to pay tribute to those that gave their lives here for this country and our freedom. That is what Memorial Day is all about. And I should have picked a Memorial Day tune. I have some actually some cool 50s and early 60s 45s that I did pull out for a Memorial Day show one day. But to tune in tomorrow night should be a fun night right here on Top Shelf Oldies. We continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Up next, this artist from Harrison, Indiana. But not only was he a great guitarist and did some cool instrumentals, he also did vocals. Now, he's mostly known for his national number 5 Billboard hit on Fraternity Records that came out in 1963, a nice instrumental version of Memphis, but he also did some nice vocals. His real name was Lonnie McIntosh, but he recorded as Lonnie Mac. And this was his 8th of 17 releases for the Fraternity record label. It's a song he wrote. This one charted number 37 on WSAI out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's go back to March of 1965. This is a vocal by Lonnie Mac on Fraternity, a song entitled Crying Over You.
Why must I spend my life all alone and blue? How can I stand my life
Galloping Woe there by Mr. Lonnie Mack. That's a cool tune. March 1965 on Fraternity Records, Crying Over You. Unfortunate that Lonnie Mack passed away of natural causes April 21st of 2016. He was only 74 years old, but he left us with some great music like that one. Johnny G's here in Vinyltreasure Overtime. Up next, we have a gal from Corbin, Kentucky, recorded under a variety of names in her career. Her real name was Rebra Jeanette Smith, but she recorded as Debbie Stevens, had releases on the Apt and ABC Paramount record label in '59, and for Motown Records in 1961, she recorded as Debbie Dean. She would then leave Motown Records to return back in 1968 to have later releases on the Motown subsidiary VIP Records. And in 1964, she signed with Juggy Murray's Sue label and recorded this 45 under the name of Deborah Dion, but she's really a Debbie Dean. This one here produced by Kent Harris. We go to June of '64. Deborah Dion, a.k.a. Debbie Dean, on Sue Records, a song entitled Don't Bug Me, Baby.
Bug me, baby. I'll stop wasting my time. Cause I know from the times before that you were mine. You think you can string me out, but I know what it's all about. So don't bug me, baby. Don't bug me, baby. Get your paws on me, baby. Spin the spider web, baby.
They're liking that one there in the top shelf oldies chart. I didn't have that record. That record came in early in the week. I saw it on eBay. And I said, I don't have this record. I checked my Sue discography. That's a cool tune there by Deborah Dion. That's on the label, but it's really Debbie Dean. That one there, June 1964. On the Sue record label, Don't Bug Me, Baby is the name of that one. But it's unfortunate that we lost her February 17th of 2001. But she does some cool records. Yes, Debbie Dean, she sure does. Johnny G's here in Vinyltreasure Overtime. Let's go back to the B-sides from last month's 60s show. This artist is from the UK. I featured his first of two that he recorded for the Capitol label. The side I played was called Supergirl, and he was the former lead singer of the Riot Squad. His name is Graham Bonney. Let's give a listen to the B-side of that 45. It's from April of '66. Graham Bonney. It's on Capitol Records. The name of the tune is called Hill of Lovin'.
be alone. So here we are upon a hill of loving. I can see that steeple like a candle on a cake far away. When we take a little ride to see a hill of loving, no one to see us here, no one around, high upon our hill of loving. What a place we've found. So baby, let me love you, 'cause nobody's gonna know. They'll be searching high and low, but they will never find our hill of loving, baby. To see us here, no one around, high upon our hill of loving. What a place we've found. So baby, let me love you, 'cause nobody's gonna know. They'll be searching high and low, but they will never find our hill of loving, baby.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure 60s edition. Overtime we are. Graham Bonney there. April 1966, Hill of Lovin' came out on the Capitol record label. That is the B-side to his first of two, a song entitled Supergirl. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, this next group, they're out of Canada. They were called the Unforeseen, but they were a Canadian duo, really consisted of Terry Robertham, who also wrote the tune, and Dan Yard. They had two releases on Mike Curb's Sidewalk record label. This is their first. We go back to August of 1967. They're called The Unforeseen. It's on Sidewalk Records, and the song is called Little Toy.
I've become a boy. I'll do anything you want me to, just call. The one I want to do your things at all. But a little toy doesn't have a mind of its own. Turn me on and watch me go, made to do a little show. But my maker made one mistake, 'cause the heart of this little toy can break.
That's the first of two for a group called The Unforeseen on Mike Curb's Sidewalk record label. Some dealer had all these records on Sidewalk. I wanted $1 a piece. In the original, like the original company sleeves, this comes in too. So I said, I'll buy them all. All these records on Sidewalk. August 67 released The Unforeseen, a song entitled Little Toy. Johnny G's your Little Toy every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Got a few more records to go. Want to get to record 41 at least. So let's continue here. We are in record 38. This group is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm featuring... this record from 1966. It first came out on the Levette label, but Columbia picked it up. And it was the first of three for this group called the Striders. Now, it's a cover song. This was originally recorded by the McCoys in October 65 on the Bang label. This tune written by Feldman Goldstein Goddard, produced by Lindy Blasky, who also owned that Levette label, so of course it's going to be mentioned on this Columbia release. Let's go to July of 66. These are the Striders. It's on Columbia, and their rendition of the McCoys song, Sorrow.
With your long blonde hair and your eyes of blue, the only thing that I get from you is sorrow. Sorrow. You're acting funny, spending all my money. You're out there playing your high-class games. Sorrow. Sorrow. You never do what you know you oughta. Something tells me you're the devil's daughter. Sorrow. Sorrow. Oh, oh, oh. I can't resist it. I never knew just how much I missed it. Sorrow. Sorrow. With your long blonde hair and your eyes of blue, the only thing that I got from you was sorrow. Sorrow.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. The Striders there. July 66 release on the Columbia record label. Also first came out on the Levette label. But that a song entitled Sorrow. Let's continue now. This next group, they're from Elmhurst, Chicago. No, Elmhurst section of Chicago. Yes. And this is their only release that first came out as a local hit on the Quill label, but it was picked up by Mercury Records. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Patrick Harper, who later went on to play guitar for Kenny Rogers, but here he is doing lead with a group called The Riddles. We go back to March of 67, The Riddles on Mercury. It's called It's One Thing to Say.
It's one thing to say that you love me. Yeah, but it's another thing to follow it through, girl. Oh, it's so easy for you. Say come closer. Yeah, but it's so very hard for me to refuse, girl. say now, hey now, oh it's one thing to say, I say that you love me, yeah, but it's another thing to follow it through, girl. Well, if you think you love me, girl, well, don't be afraid to show your love for me. One thing I know is, girl, that love cannot come easy. Girl, think of what you're doing. Yeah, come on, girl. Think of what you say now. Oh, it's one thing to say, I will say that you love me, yeah, but it's another thing I want to follow it through, girl. Yeah, to follow it through, girl. I want to follow it through, girl.
Yeah, liking that one there in the Top Shelf Oldies chat room from March of '67. They're called The Riddles. The Riddles, Patrick Harper on lead there. It's One Thing to Say. It's on the Mercury record label. And the one thing to say is it's nice to get records like that for $1 in the original sleeve. That's all Johnny G could say as we continue here in Vinyltreasure Overtime. Now, in the last 60s show, I played the B-side of this. It was the last single by the Zombies on the Date label. It was their fifth and final release on Date. It was called Don't Cry For Me. But here's the intended A-side, which charted regionally. This was number 23 on KSHE out of St. Louis, Missouri. It was written by Rod Argent. Now, this song, believe it or not, was recorded 4 years prior by Dusty Springfield. It came out on her LP, Everything Coming Up Dusty, 4 years prior. But here they are with this release in June of 1969. The Zombies on Date. This is the A-side. It's called If I Don't Wait. Did I write it right? Yeah. It's called If It Don't Work Out.
Love me, nothing in the world to touch your love. And now the light of love has gone. Can I return the joy she's dreaming of? I don't know, but if it don't work out, the tears that I cried in vain won't bring her home. If it don't work out, she still care for me the way she did before? Will she turn around and tell me she don't love me anymore? I don't know, but if it don't work out, the tears that I cried in vain won't bring her home. If it don't work out, but if I could forget the tears and the crying that I went through once before, maybe my love I could start again. One day I know we'll find again the love we had, and I will know and feel the joys and pleasures that I'm dreaming of. And I don't know, but if it don't work out, the
That's the last single for the Zombies on the Date record label. That one there from June 69, the Zombies with If It Don't Work Out. If it don't work out, you could always try it again. Yes, you can, as we're going to do it again next Saturday. But let's continue here. Got probably 2 more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here. Now, this group, they formed in Abilene, Texas back in 1966. They actually competed in a contest with several hundred bands held in Dallas, Texas, and won top honors and received a recording contract with George Brown's Titan label out of Hollywood, California. It resulted with this lone release they did on the Titan label, featuring keyboardist Tommy Swindle on lead. And this 45 came out with a picture sleeve. I don't have it with a picture sleeve, but we're going to give a listen to this record from December 66. They're called the Chevelle 5 with a V. The Chevelle 5. It's on Titan Records. It's called Stone and Steel Man.
A storm and steel rising up to the sky. Millions of people walk by. You stepped off the bus like you made up your mind. We're all here to make you cry. You got to learn that I'm not here to hurt you. I'm gonna help you if I can. Just cause I live in a stone and still city doesn't mean that I must stone and steel man. Slammed in your face. Each stone is still man, you're prepared to reject you. But here in my arms there's a place. You got to learn that I'm here to love you. Though stone and steel may fall apart, just cause I live in a stone and steel city doesn't mean that I got a stone and steel heart.
From December 66. They're called the Chevelle 5 with a V. Stone and Steel Man is the name of that one on the Titan record label. We're getting close to Vinyltreasure ending here. Now, this next artist, he was born August 19th of 1941, singer, actor, composer, senior editor for the National Lampoon, and son of publisher and founder of Random House, Bennett Cerf. Now, he's best known for his Sesame Street songs as lead of Chrissy and the Alphabeats. He also dabbled in rockabilly in 61 as Chris Cerf, Fallout Philly on the Vanitas and on the MGM label on the Vanitas label and on the MGM label in the Middle of the Night. Now, his first release was on this label, Amy Records, a song entitled Sweet Music in 1966. But this is his second release, a song he wrote. This one produced and arranged by Alan Lauber. We go back to February 1967 for Christopher Cerf on Amy. It's called Watch Your Step.
If you're not careful, you could lose me in 100 just keep making remarks behind my back, girl. Keep it up, and it'll get you nowhere fast. Remember, before your train runs off the track, girl, the next mistake you make may be your last. You better watch your step. Watch your step. Watch your step. You're always telling me all the things that I'm missing. Instead of pointing out the understanding that you lack. You may think I live just for your kissing, but your next straw may break the camel's back. Tell me one more time what's on your mind. Tell me once more what a fool I've been. Tell me one more time, and I think you'll find, girl, the ice you're skating on is very thin. You better watch your step. Watch your step. Watch your
We're going to have to send that one out to Mr. Dave the Rave, our Saturday night disc jockey. He likes that tune by Christopher Cerf. C-E-R-F's his name. Came out on the Amy label, February 1967. Watch Your Step. That's the second of two on the Amy record label. A few more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here. We head to Chicago, Illinois for this next artist, born Charles Ethan Kenning. And he also recorded under his adopted name, George Edwards. He would later record as a member of H.P. Lovecraft, but on this single, he is known as George Edwards. Now, this is his lone release, and he would later work in the music production for TV commercials, and you can check him out on Facebook under the name Ethan Kenning. As we go to the Dunwich record label for this one, April 1966, George Edwards on Dunwich, and a song entitled Never Mind, I'm Freezing.
You said to me, you were the one that always would be true. You said to me, girl, that I could depend upon just you. You told me everything would work out fine.
true. Oh, you lied to me, yeah. You left me here to all alone and blue.
Scratchy 45s here for a Saturday evening. That one there, George Edwards, April 1966 release, came out on the Dunwich record label. Never Mind I'm Freezing. It's actually pretty cold out tonight, but it's not going to be cold tomorrow. It's supposed to be a nice warm day tomorrow. But that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with Johnny G, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Been recording this one on the YouTube Live, so it's going to be posted up fairly shortly. Actually, it's pretty easy because once I sign off, YouTube runs it through their filter. And let's hope I don't have any copyright. I usually get copyright issues, but not really strikes. Once in a while, if I get a strike, they don't allow the video to play anywhere or in certain countries, and I have to remove it, which is a pain in the butt. I lose all the chat when I have to do that, so I hope this doesn't happen today. I really don't. I've been lucky the last few shows. Maybe my luck ran out. But anyway, you can also go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. I load the shows up there, so I'm actually getting pretty full there. They're going to make me take off some of those soon, but they're there. You can go back, I think, a couple years, 2 or 3 years there for the shows there. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks. And I hope you enjoyed the 60s. We do it the last Saturday of every month right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Our closer tonight is with this group out of New York. It's their only release that came out on the Amy label. It was written by Wes Farrell and Tony Romeo. It was produced and arranged by Wes Farrell, who went on to a major success as a songwriter for the Partridge Family, believe it or not. But this one charted number 6. This was a big number 6 record on WALN out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So our closer tonight is from May of 1968. We go back to the Amy label, a group called Central Park. Central Park on Amy. It's called Who Wouldn't Love to Be Loved? And who wouldn't love Johnny G's Vinyl Treasure Show? Believe it or not, somebody out there did not, as last week somebody gave me a dislike. If you are listening out there, what did I do wrong? You can send me it privately at vinyltreasures@aol.com. I'm just interested why you would dislike a labor of love like this. Just, I don't know. It just kind of took me. But anyway, if I made a political statement, it's one thing, but I didn't. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the tunes here tonight. Please tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities. All starts at 9 p.m. here on Top Shelf Oldies, 9 to midnight, and maybe longer. Dave the Rave, I went 48 minutes. Actually, it's going to be 50 minutes longer, so that's the challenge tomorrow. Anyway, that's going to do it, folks. Thank you again, Charlene, for all your help. I know I was a little bit behind today, but anyway, it all turned out well. I enjoyed myself. Hope you guys did too. I will see you next week at 10 p.m. for the 1950s and early 60s, 45s, and 78s. Received some emails that people want me to continue with the 78, so I will be doing that. And have a safe weekend and a safe week. Enjoy the Memorial Day holiday as we pay tribute to our veterans, the people that have given their life for the freedom of this country. So we want to celebrate that. So just want to say, everybody, so long.
Tell me I'm all that matters. Who would love to be loved?
Thanks, you diehards, for sticking around. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Let me show you the record label here. I play a lot of records. I can't believe I got so many records. It's amazing. It's like crazy. I was talking to a bunch of collectors today. They called me up. They kind of put me behind the eight ball. Pete Yaffe, a big group harmony collector, called me. Of course, Dave the Rave called me. Also, Greg Surik. We were talking about maybe some records and maybe doing a deal on some 45s. I'm sure going to have to get him over here because I want to listen to them. A lot of the dealers that I listen to bring the records to the house. I play them on my turntables, and I check my books and whatnot. It's a lot easier then. The only thing is the hard thing comes when you have to pay them. That it is. But anyway, I had a fun night, folks. Hope you all did. Thanks you all for sticking around and for tuning into the Vinyltreasure show. And click like on there. Who would give me a negative? I mean, I could see if you didn't like a song. Everybody's not going to like every song, but I try to hit all the genres of music. I lean more towards soul and R&B, that is for sure, but or like popcorn type sound, which I like. But hey, what are you going to do? You can't please everybody, but I know you guys enjoy it because you stick around all the time. You're my diehard fans. I much appreciate it that you tune in. It makes it all worthwhile. And again, thank you, Charlene, for all your help. Hopefully, I'll see you all next week. Again, have a great weekend, and I'll see you here on YouTube. Take care, guys. So long. Bye-bye. Ouch.